The Aurora city leader who made her city infamous with claims of a complete gang takeover by immigrants has been voted out of office. A stunning upset, considering that Councilwoman Danielle Jurinsky had built herself a national profile through far-right media, built herself an enormous fundraising edge, only to finish in third place behind two progressive challengers with far less money. Politics guy Marshall Zellinger looks at a leftist sweep in Colorado's third largest city, which has been run by Republicans for decades.
Yeah, here we go. Okay.
The photos don't necessarily reveal it. In the history of Aurora City Council,
This image was taken of City Council in 1949.
the ideology has long been moderately conservative.
I've been a Democrat my whole life.
Rob Andrews is not moderately conservative, and he just helped turn Aurora City Council into progressively liberal.
I know folks are gonna say, hey, we need to do the complete opposite, but we ran on Aurora together, everyone together. We've got some things we gotta fix.
Andrews and Democrat Allie Jackson will be Aurora's newest at-large council members, knocking out two incumbents, including Danielle Jurinsky.
The incumbents always have the advantage, and they outraised us by a lot.
Jurinsky raised $258,000 compared to Andrews' $50,000 and Jackson's $20,000.
If I'm judging this right, it doesn't look good for Republicans.
Mayor Mike Kaufman compared the outcome to 2017, when liberals started to gain control of Aurora Council in the first election after President Trump was first elected.
Whenever one party has a monopoly on power, there's a pushback at and it just seeps down to every level.
Mayor Kaufman's going to have a very challenging, rough, unpleasant 2 years.
Charlie Richardson served on city council when it had a more traditional, moderately conservative makeup. He believes voters electing far-right conservatives was more of a blip.
This current council, in my opinion, was an aberration that really does not reflect the political demographics of the community. So I'm not surprised by the outcome last night.
Were you surprised?
Yes.
In a diverse city where 1 in 5 are foreign-born, the future city council photos will look a bit different than the ones stored in the Aurora History Museum.
Council is starting to reflect a lot of what Aurora is all about.
I was directed to an interesting stat comparing 2021 to now. Jurinsky and fellow councilman Steve Sundberg, who's also losing, have similar vote totals to 4 years ago. So they're performing basically the same, Kyle, but Jurinsky had one additional candidate 4 years ago, so there was more vote splitting, and Sundberg had a four-way race, and now he was head-to-head. So their support appears to be the same. It's just who's around them that's the difference.
You know, it's interesting. In style, temperament, and rhetoric, Jurinsky is a lot like Congresswoman Lauren Boebert. Boebert has fled to the most safely Republican district in the state and is in no trouble, whereas Jurinsky was trying to make MAGAville out of the most diverse city in the state.
And listening to Charlie Richardson, he seemed confused that it ever worked. I mean, you say Congresswoman Boebert has fled to safe waters. I don't know. Watching the results from yesterday, I am curious what next year would look like.
Oh, I bet you Dems will email me and say that she's not safe. It's an R+20 district, folks. Okay, you can email me. That's fine. But what happened in Aurora was shocking. I mean, that clean sweep was shocking. All right.
You saw Andrews. I asked him, was he surprised? Yeah, so he thought it was going to be at least Jurinsky and maybe him.
I appreciate his honesty. All right, Marshall Zellinger, thank you. Denver voters okayed almost $1 billion in borrowing last night. That's serious money, and the city is quickly getting to work spending it on approved projects. Mayor Mike Johnson said right here before Election Day that his Vibrant Denver bond was not a referendum on his leadership. Then he joked with us last night that he would like to take that back after he saw that he was going to win by double digits. The city has faced criticism in the past for moving slowly on bond projects, so the mayor's promising transparency and speed.
We will launch a public dashboard where you can see all 90 projects, where they are in the status, what's happening, what the timeline is, what the cost is, what the delivery dates are. So we feel like Denver has worked hard to build and to own this package. We want them to be able to monitor it, celebrate it, and push it over the next 6 years.
And we will be watching too, of course. The city breaks ground on its first bond-funded project tomorrow, a new family health center at Denver Health. School board candidates backed by teachers' unions swept races across Colorado last night, regaining ground lost in recent years and solidifying the boards they already held. It's a brutal collapse for the Colorado Republican Party's stated strategy of using school board races as the first step to claw back into competitiveness. Jennifer Meckles takes a closer look.
Teachers' unions didn't just win big. They made a statement in the 2025 elections.
Communities across Colorado really sent a strong message that they want to see their educators supported.
The Colorado Education Association is a big player in election season. School boards are technically nonpartisan races, but the power dynamics on any board and the decisions they make in their communities are quite political indeed.
I think it was a pretty strong message to keep extremist sort of politics out of our schools.
In Denver, the union was looking for a comeback this year after their candidates lost big in 2023 to a group of so-called reformers. In 2025, the tides shift again with a win from all four union-backed candidates.
Our educators are ecstatic.
If Denver's results hold, it means the teacher's voice will have the majority on DPS's 7-person board.
I think a lot of the voters out there saw the money coming from out of state, from the billionaires, from the corporations, and I think they sent a very clear message to those individuals that said, you know what, stay out of our politics.
In Durango, union-backed incumbent candidates fended off a conservative slate of challengers fighting culture wars. The right zoned in on this race, like failed GOP gubernatorial candidate Heidi Ganahl.
And the things that are going on in that school district are shocking. But boy, they have the whole gamut, from boys and girls sports, boys and girls bathrooms.
But conservatives lost bad in Durango, trailing in all three races by more than 40 percentage points.
It's not really a right or left thing. It's pretty much a leave alone the good things in our community that we are proud of, that we want to see succeed, and don't enter into these sort of extremist arguments.
In Cherry Creek and Jefferson County, the school boards were already dominated by union-friendly boards, and they will stay that way for now. Jennifer Meckles, 9 News.
And in conservative Douglas County, a prior school board had cut ties with the teachers' unions. No union endorsements there. It was a slate backed by Democrats versus a slate backed by the Dougco GOP. The Democrat-backed slate won every race and will now hold every single seat on the school board in the most conservative county in the Denver metro area. If one state can peer pressure another state, California's trying to do it to Colorado. Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom called out Colorado by name last night after California agreed to redraw congressional maps in favor of Democrats in response to Republicans doing it in Texas at President Trump's direction.
And so we need the state of Virginia. We need the state of Maryland. We need our friends in New York and Illinois and Colorado. We need to see other states with their remarkable leaders that have been doing remarkable things meet this moment head on as well, to recognize what we're up against in 2026. And let me make this crystal clear. We can de facto end Donald Trump's presidency as we know it.
Democratic Attorney General Phil Weiser here in Colorado, who's also running for governor, announced on Next that he supports Colorado joining this redistricting battle. It would take a constitutional change here, so it couldn't happen in time for 2026, but could be done if voters approve by 2028. The Trump administration wants to limit flights at busy airports, including Denver, if the government shutdown continues. Today, DIA was like, well, hold up. What if we pay air traffic controllers ourselves? DIA is asking the feds for a waiver to allow the airport to use its own revenue to keep air traffic control paid. They would like a reimbursement after the shutdown. The Trump administration plans to reduce flights by 10% at 40 airports, including Denver, on Friday. DIA's leaders say they can only afford to pay air traffic control workers, not other federal employees working without pay at the airport, like TSA agents. As long as politicians are playing games with SNAP food benefits, we are going to focus all of our weekly micro-giving campaigns on feeding Coloradans. Last week, you raised an astonishing $95,000 for the Weld Food Bank in northern Colorado. Tonight, we focus on the Denver metro area. This week's Word of Thanks micro-giving campaign supports the nonprofit Benefits in Action. They have a free food delivery program for low-income seniors in Denver, Adams, Arapahoe, and Jefferson counties. They delivered almost 16,000 boxes of food to people in need last year. They tell me they operate this program at a loss. They keep it running through volunteers and food rescue partners. Lately, they've been getting frantic calls from people worried that they will not have anything to eat. One of their benefit navigators was talking about a grandmother who called in, a grandmother who's taking care of 2 small grandchildren, and she was terrified that they would not have food soon. Scan the QR code on your screen or text the word THANKS to 303-871-1491 to get that link to donate. 5 years of pooling your $5 donations or more if you're able has built a $16 million mountain of generosity in our state. I'll never ask you to give if I don't, so I'll match the first 50 donations of $5 to get us rolling. More than 6,000 of you have taken that same QR code or link and made a monthly donation to the Word of Thanks Fund. You put in your info once, and each month your recurring donation is automatically split to help all of the nonprofits we feature. And that's added an additional $30,000 to recent weekly microgiving. The Broncos took the next step in their stadium project today, completely unrelated to the $140 million solid that voters did them last night.
If it were just the SNAP benefits, that's one thing. If it were just the tariffs, that's another.
We know the SNAP food benefit pause is creating worry for families. Let's talk about all the small businesses missing out on that spending. That's next. Denver's voters just approved more than $100 million in infrastructure work around the future Broncos stadium. And then today, totally coincidentally, the Broncos announced they're moving ahead with the project. They filed plans with the city this morning. Broncos President Damani Leach told us that regardless of the bond vote's outcome last night, the stadium design application was going into City Hall this morning. Broncos game night tomorrow night. If you're watching that broadcast on the TV, keep an eye out for Chris Bianchi. He will be in the stands, but highly visible.
You're going to be in the stands as well, aren't you?
I'm not going to be highly visible. That's not how I roll. You, however, you've got a little outfit planned for tomorrow night.
I have a little outfit planned for tomorrow night. My best friend's flying into town. I can't wait. Hey, 7-2 Broncos coming into town. Weather's going to be great tomorrow night as well. Tonight, 43 for us here in Denver. Just a few clouds overhead. Just a little bit of a breeze out there. We do have an area of low pressure that's going to kind of pass off to our north. This is the one that will bring us a little bit of wind for us for tomorrow. That wind will be noticeable, especially late morning through the early to mid part of the afternoon. 30-35 mile an hour gusts, but those winds will die down tomorrow night before the game. 7-day forecast, we're mostly in the 60s through Friday. Then we're dropping down in the 50s before we warm right back up again next week.
Donald Trump was on the ballot in Colorado. The president said that the reason that Republicans lost big coast to coast is because he wasn't on the ballot to boost him. And I hear what he's saying. It's a logical argument, though actually not a very hopeful message for his party, given that he is constitutionally ineligible to run again, unless he has other plans. But the issue for his party in Colorado this latest election day and for years of elections day now is that Trump has been on the ballot in this state. He's everywhere on it. From statewide races where GOP candidates are pressured to embrace his election rigging lies, to school board races where stirring up fear about a minuscule number of trans kids works for Trump's base but no longer seems to scare voters in this state. Yes, Trump was on every ballot in Colorado this election day, motivating Democrats to turn out in droves, even in a sleepy off-year election. It resulted in purging conservatives off school boards, even in red Douglas County, shooing Republicans straight out of Aurora, where they've led for decades, and supercharging the winning margin for a tax increase to fund school lunches. Donald Trump used to love to tell his rally crowds that they were going to win so much they get tired of winning. He might as well have been talking to Democrats in Colorado. As food banks deal with increased demand from the pause in SNAP benefits, local businesses are seeing a big drop in customers. That's next. As Coloradans wait on SNAP food benefits, local businesses wait on the revenue that usually comes from that spending. Our Evan Krugel has that.
Inside Aurora Mucho in Aurora, the shelves were stocked Wednesday, but the aisles were empty.
It's close to ghost town.
It's a scary sight for Doug McMurrin.
Yeah, it's a huge deal.
He owns La Plaza, Colorado, a normally bustling marketplace off Colfax Avenue, where the loss of SNAP benefits is impacting families who come here to play, shop, and eat.
It's disposable income. You know, are you going to buy a cowboy hat, or are you going to buy, ground beef to put on the table for your kids and your family to eat? You buy the food.
Doug says since the benefits lapsed on Saturday, sales in the vendor section of La Plaza are down 15 to 20%. He says sales in the grocery store remain steady as families prioritize their budgets on food.
That's good news. At the same time, the cowboy hats aren't selling like they should be because people are using that money to buy food for their families.
La Plaza and Aurora Mucho cater primarily to Hispanic families, but Doug says his business isn't the only one being impacted.
And it has a chilling effect, and it doesn't matter whether you're Hispanic, black, white, purple, polka dot, it doesn't matter. It becomes survival.
Doug is hoping people who rely on SNAP will get that money back soon, but anticipates plenty of empty aisles until that happens.
It's not good. So we're going to weather, we'll survive, and just hope people come.
Around 600,000 Coloradans rely on SNAP benefits. The federal government has agreed to use contingency funds to cover about half of the benefits this month. But Kyle, it's of course unclear when those electronic benefits cards will be reloaded or how long that money will last.
Right, they're saying that the states are going to have to get involved in this process. That could delay things by weeks. And then you have situations like yesterday where the president announced in the morning that they were not actually going to pay the SNAP benefits. But by the end of the day, his own White House said, no, actually, we are going to pay them. It's mass confusion.
So much uncertainty here, and you have to keep in mind, often with SNAP benefits, that money isn't actually enough to last a full month for these families. So they're left with a really tricky situation now of trying to budget for money they're not sure they'll really have.
Evan Krugel, thank you. You will get the final word. As always, your feedback is next. A lot of conversation around the pause in SNAP food benefits has rightly focused on young families trying to feed kids, but we know that hunger touches every segment of Colorado's population. So tonight, your Word of Thanks microgiving campaign is helping to feed seniors in need in the metro area. Benefits in Action delivers food boxes to low-income seniors in Denver, Arapahoe, Adams, and Jefferson counties. If you scan that QR code on your screen or text the word thanks to 303-871-1491, we will send you the link to join me and a bunch of other Coloradans in donating. Right now, that nonprofit tells me that they are hearing from really desperate folks who are worried about where their meals are going to come from in the coming days and weeks, and they're just trying to get as much help out to as many people as possible. We have heard from a number of you asking for help for very specific food banks around the state. Obviously, just a reminder, anybody is welcome to donate to food banks in their own community. What we're trying to do is we're trying to find a few in particular that have a lot of reach, a lot of infrastructure to do good in our state, and to channel donations to them so that they can get that help out the door. But please, give wherever you're moved to give. Feedback tonight from Michael disagreeing with my commentary about President Trump's impact on elections in Colorado. Michael says, nothing changed here. We are a blue state, and guess what? We still are. The better news is you'll be off the air soon, not soon enough. Michael, it seems like you've gone a while without a win, so if that's one for you, cheers.